Okay, this is a quick overview of what constitutes a good and also bad response to the pattern assignment. This is based on responses from previous year's submissions. So that this one, oh, well, it's okay, but it's certainly not very good. Why is it not good? Well, firstly, this element here, the student did not make themselves, okay? They acquired it from a commercial library. So that's plagiarism right there, okay? These elements here, well, they're not bad, but this fill is driving me crazy. It's a linear gradient fill, relentlessly applied. Why not, say, a radial gradient on some of these shapes here? Why not a stroke gradient? You know, you can apply a gradient to a stroke as well as a fill. It just looks horrible. It's ghastly. And these shapes here, these fronds, these branches, they've all been made as shapes and not as, let's say, strokes. I'll show you a better example that's been made as a stroke later on. Also, there's very sloppy use of pen. We can see if we go into the outline mode and select. So, for example, here, 2 points, not one. Crazy, crazy. This, again, is a redundant point. Messy, 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 sloppy, okay? This one is an excellent example, an excellent response, absolutely faultless, interestingly asymmetrical, beautiful use of color, beautiful inventive shape. I'm jealous of it. I'm madly jealous. I wish I had done it. This one, this is just laughable. Basically, what the student did for this is to copy one of the example files that I made. That right there is a fail. They've plagiarized me. This is an excellent response. Very good use of color. A wonderful juxtaposition of grayscale with color. Very muted. Very beautiful. Love it. This student here, okay, this is a good use of gradient. This is a path which they've stroked with a profile brush and then stroked again with a gradient. Now, if those terms confuse you, just ask me to clarify in class, okay? Here on this petal, they've also filled with a radial gradient, so a very appropriate use of gradient. They also sought frequent consultation and benefited from that consultation. So this example here, well, they try to avoid following the brief, really. They try to avoid making a pattern and instead make a figure. Now, it's possible that that you can make a pattern using figurative elements. For example, the Rococo frames that I showed you in the example slides. But this is not a success. It's a confusing use of overlaid elements, line work, automatic filters to extract a vector from a photograph. I'm not impressed at all, no. This is an excellent response. This student sought frequent consultation, beautiful use of color, good strong contrast here, nice low contrast there, a beautiful response. Another good response. Beautiful use of transparencies and muted colors. This, well, they tried very hard, this student, but it's a bit of a mess. These colors here, the green leaf and the blue background, they're too close to each other. These elements here, okay, this poor use of symmetry. So this blue shape here, it just touches that leaf. It's the only repeated element in that series that just touches anything. So poor symmetry. So a bit of a mess, a bit of a mess. This piece here, well, all they've done is to get a rectangle and stroke it with a pattern brush. And the pattern brush they didn't even make themselves. It's as simple as this. This is what they've done. One line, one point, another point, another point, another point, and then another point. There you go. Okay, so that as a response to an assignment, that's laughable, laughable. Okay, this example here, well, this is dreadful. Look, anything repeated can become a pattern. Okay, anything repeated can become a pattern. But is it a good pattern? A good pattern involves consideration of positive and negative shape, of interlocking, of form, of all sorts of things. Now, if we look at what they've done, we see this tiny fussy little detail here, which doesn't translate at all into the larger pattern. And very poor consideration of interlock, very poor consideration of flow, very poor all round. So not a good example. This piece here, well, this is a bit of bit of a disaster, quite frankly, in terms of its making. This yellow shape here could have been made with just a simple vector shape and then using a fill color. But what have we got here? Let's find out, shall we? Well, what they've done is to get a shape and fill it with lots and lots of strokes from a paintbrush. In other words, they've used Illustrator's paint tool. In other words, they've used Illustrator as a painting application. Illustrator is not a painting application. So we can see how horribly organized it is if we go into the outline mode. Look at the number of strokes there. Crazy, crazy. And the final example, this one, very good, very good. A complex repeat, very involved, not straightforward at all. A beautiful use of quite exact symmetry. Very simple, very strong. A real achievement.